I was fixing the signal. The alien regent leaned in and said, "That's our future?" They thought humans were just engineers, tinkering with wires while aliens wove empires from thoughts. Until one man decoded a whisper that exposed the rot in their stars, proving humanity's edge wasn't strength, but the ruthless pursuit of truth. The Core Nexus station hung in the void like a colossal sphere, 5 kilometers across, forged in 2642 as the galaxy's neutral hub for interstellar diplomacy. Its 12 levels pulsed with artificial ecosystems, sustaining species from arid dust worlds to methane breathers, all under a shield of energy that had repelled pirate raids since the interstellar wars of 2610 and 2630. Gravity fields hummed steadily, mimicking homeworld pulls, while corridors branched like veins, lit by holographic panels displaying real-time star maps. Air recyclers whispered clean, laced with neutral scents to avoid offending alien olfactory senses. This was the symbol of fragile peace, a fortress where deals were struck or shattered. In the heart of it all, the historic event loomed, the signing of the trade and military alliance between the Human Federation, spanning 47 planets, and the Altari Empire, ruling 32 star systems. The Grand Assembly Hall awaited 200 delegates, its dome ceiling projecting a neutral star field to ease tensions. Security drones patrolled, scanning for weapons or unauthorized tech, while comms arrays beamed updates to waiting fleets. Failure here could cost 20% of interspace trade routes, igniting skirmishes along border zones. At the core lay the Resonance Translation System, a marvel of emotional frequency tech. It channeled 1,024 wavebands to decode languages via mind-heart pulses, boasting 99.7% accuracy from 50 prior negotiations. Crystals hummed in synchronized arrays, mapping neural spikes to words, ensuring alliance didn't twist into betrayal. Without it, talks would devolve to crude gestures, ripe for misunderstandings that had sparked wars before. Daniel Kim, a 30-year-old comms officer of Asian descent, patrolled the system daily. Slim build, black hair cropped short, sharp eyes behind augmented lenses. He wore the gray-blue uniform with calibration tools holstered at his hip. At 800 station time, he scanned the readouts in the resonance chamber, a 200-square-meter vault where glowing rings simulated multi-species heartbeats. All metrics green, signal integrity at peak, no anomalies. Yet a faint unease gnawed, born from 5 years as an interstellar comms engineer, fixing rigs on frontier outposts where one bad relay meant isolation or death. He tapped his tablet, logging baselines, fingers precise on the interface. Regent Celera arrived via the Royal Shuttle Altari 7, docking with a seamless clamp. Towering at 1 meters, silver hair shimmering blue under lights, amber eyes steady, she led her 15-strong entourage through the airlock. Her regal cloak, embedded with crystalline patterns for psychic resonance, flowed like liquid starlight. As interim ruler since the royal line's demise in 2640, she embodied reform, pushing for openness against conservative tides. Guards flanked her, armed with subtle energy blades, eyes scanning for threats in this human-built haven. Ambassador Rowan, mid-50s, stocky frame in a crisp diplomatic suit, convened with the Human Council in a secure annex. He paced, voice gruff, outlining security protocols. One glitch, and we lose 20% of our trade lanes. Altari pulls back, borders flare. His team nodded, reviewing holomaps of delegate positions, ensuring no blind spots. Rowan's realism stemmed from decades of navigating alliances, where tech failures equaled political graves. Councillor Vale lurked in shadows, lean frame and elongated face hidden in a traditional Altari ceremonial robe. From a private chamber, he directed extremist operatives via encrypted channels, plotting sabotage. "Cooperation dilutes our essence," he muttered to a subordinate, eyes cold. He believed unity with humans would erode Altari's identity, forged in isolationist wars. His network prepped devices, small and insidious, to seed chaos without fingerprints. The 27th century buzzed with expansion, post-war trade booming through hyperlanes once scarred by conflict. Core Nexus stood as peace's beacon, its energy shields humming against void threats, docking bays alive with shuttles ferrying envoys. Daniel finished his sweep, holstering his tool, the chamber's rings pulsing in rhythm, human heartbeats steady at 72 per minute, Altari slower at 40. He nodded to a tech assistant. Systems nominal, but run a diagnostic on the secondary arrays. Experience taught him stability was an illusion in the stars. Celara toured the resonance chamber, her steps measured, entourage trailing. The rings glowed brighter in her presence, simulating Altari's psychic pulses alongside human neural maps. She placed a hand on a console, feeling the text hum through her senses. Your constructs intrigue, she said to a guide, voice formal yet open. They bridge what our intuitions alone cannot, Daniel observed from afar, noting her poise, reformist, unafraid of human ingenuity. As she departed, he reviewed logs again, that vague worry lingering like static in the air. Daniel returned to his station, calibrating a minor flux in the outer rings. The chamber's holograms flickered, displaying wave patterns in real time, a symphony of frequencies that could unite or divide. He cross-checked against historical data, ensuring no drift. Rowan passed through en route to a briefing, clapping Daniel's shoulder. Keep it tight, Kim. This pack's our future. Daniel nodded, focused. Logic his weapon in a galaxy of unknowns. Celera's group settled in quarters, her mind attuned to the station's vibe. She conferred with aides, reviewing treaty clauses on shared fleets and trade tariffs. Vale's spies watched, relaying movements, his plan coalescing. In the Grand Hall, preparations intensified. Seats aligned, security fields tested. Daniel's unease grew as he spotted a faint anomaly in the baseline, a blip at 42 Hz, dismissed as calibration noise. He logged it, unaware it was the first thread in a web. The station thrummed with activity, delegates arriving in waves. Human ships docked precisely, Altari vessels in graceful arcs. Daniel met Celera briefly during her tour's end, exchanging nods. Your system holds promise, she said. If it falters, so do we. He replied curtly, it won't. We've built redundancies. Their eyes met, logic versus intuition, a spark of mutual respect. Vale smirked in seclusion, activating a prelim signal. The plot ticked forward, unseen. Rowan drilled his team. Eyes on everything. The clock wound down to the ceremony, tensions coiled like springs. Daniel sealed his report, systems green. But that blip echoed in his mind, a harbinger in the machine. As hours ticked, Daniel patrolled corridors, tools ready. The station's vastness felt alive, a neutral ground where fates intertwined. Celera's presence amplified whispers among delegates. Reformer or traitor? Vale fed doubts through channels. Rowan sensed undercurrents, tightening protocols. Daniel entered the chamber again, running sims. The rings stabilized, but he isolated that frequency, analyzing patterns. Not random, structured. His pulse quickened, 5 years instinct screaming alert. He messaged Rowan. Minor variance, monitoring. The ambassador replied swiftly, handle it, no risks. Celera, in private, meditated on the treaty's weight. Her empire's future hinged here, conservatives circling like predators. She resolved, progress or perish. The station orbited steadily, void outside indifferent. Vale's operative planted the seed device, small as a pebble, in a maintenance duct. Signal test, success. He vanished into crowds. Daniel's shift ended, but he lingered, tablet glowing. The blip persisted, faint but insistent. Not noise, he murmured. The galaxy waited, unaware that a human's vigilance would unravel it all. Daniel's tablet pinged at 10:15 station time, a red alert flaring across the screen. A repeating wave pattern at 42 Hz spiked through the resonance system's channels, disrupting the neural linguistic feed. Not random noise, its structure mimicked a coded signal, precise as a heartbeat. Daniel's fingers flew over the interface, isolating the anomaly. The system's diagnostics flagged a 0.3% deviation, enough to twist peace into war in Altari syntax, per data from 10 prior tests. A single misstep in translation could derail the treaty, ignite border skirmishes, or worse. He tightened his grip, logic overriding the pulse of unease. In the resonance chamber, holographic displays flickered, projecting jagged emotional frequencies across the 200-square-meter vault. The glowing rings, synchronized to multi-species neural patterns, stuttered faintly. Daniel adjusted his calibration tool, a compact scanner humming at his hip, and ran a deep diagnostic. Data streamed 5 of 1,024 channels showed interference, a creeping distortion. He muttered, "This isn't just noise. It's structured. Someone's trying to talk." 5 years as an interstellar comms engineer told him chaos hid purpose. He logged the pattern, eyes sharp behind augmented lenses. He sent a priority comm to Ambassador Rowan, who was mid-briefing in a secured annex. Rowan's stocky frame loomed over a holotable, reviewing delegate positions. "Kim, report!" he barked through the link. Daniel summarized. "Anomaly detected, non-random, potential sabotage." Rowan's voice hardened. "We're 48 hours from the signing. No risks. Shut it down. Go manual translation." Daniel countered. "Manual's only 85% accurate. This system's our edge. I need time." Rowan grunted, unconvinced, prioritizing the safety of 150 human delegates over chasing ghosts. Regent Celera, informed via her aide, swept into the chamber minutes later. Her 1-meter frame moved with regal precision, silver blue hair catching the ring's glow. Her crystalline cloak shimmered, amplifying psychic resonance. As she neared the main console, the interference spiked to 65 Hz, a sharp jump visible on Daniel's screen. Her entourage, 15 Altari in ceremonial gear, exchanged wary glances, whispering she might be the target. Celera's amber eyes locked on the holograms. "If this signal has will," she said, voice steady, "silencing it kills a voice yet to speak." Her intuition clashed with Daniel's data-driven focus, yet he nodded, intrigued. Counselor Vale monitored from a shadowed suite, his lean face lit by a private comms relay. Encrypted reports confirmed the interference spread, sowing doubt among Altari delegates. He smirked, relishing the chaos. "Let their trust fracture," he told his operative, voice cold as a void. His plan hinged on disrupting the treaty without exposing his hand, believing human collaboration would erode Altari's purity. The device, buried in the system's relays, ticked like a bomb, its signal masked as an error. Daniel gestured for Celera to a secondary console, showing her the wave patterns. "See this? Cyclic, 7-second loops. Not a glitch, too deliberate." She placed a hand on the console, sensing its hum. "A message, perhaps," she mused, "woven into sabotage." Their methods differed, his rooted in code, hers in psychic attunement, but their goal aligned: uncover the truth. Daniel ran a cross-reference, pulling data from past negotiations. The anomaly didn't match known errors. His pulse quickened. This was deliberate. Rowan stormed in, vest creased from pacing. "Kim, we can't gamble the treaty on your hunch. 5 channels down already? Pull the plug." Daniel stood firm. "This isn't random. If we disable the system, we lose precision. Altari syntax needs resonance to parse intent. Manual translation risks missteps." Rowan's jaw tightened. 48 hours, Kim. Fix it or we're done." He left, leaving Daniel to face Celera's steady gaze. She tilted her head. "You trust your machines over my people's instincts?" Daniel replied. "I trust data, but I'm listening to you." The chamber's air grew heavy, the ring's pulses uneven. Daniel recalibrated, isolating the 42 Hz signal. It looped, structured, and was almost linguistic. He uploaded it to his tablet, running a preliminary decode. Celera watched, her presence amplifying the system's output, pushing interference higher. "Your proximity's affecting it," Daniel noted. Not accusing, but curious. She nodded, unfazed. "Then we work together. My senses, your logic." A pact formed, unspoken, built on mutual respect. Vale's operative slipped through maintenance ducts, checking the sabotage device, a 5-centimeter module pulsing with Altari tech. It emitted controlled bursts designed to peak during the signing. Vale's comm buzzed. "Signal stable. Ready to escalate." He leaned back, confident. Let their alliance crumble in mistrust. His ideology, forged in Altari isolationism, saw humans as diluting sacred traditions. The device was his weapon, invisible yet lethal. Daniel's tablet chirped, isolating a fragment of the signal. It wasn't just interference. It carried intent, layered like a coded transmission. He shared the data with Salira, who closed her eyes, attuning to the frequency. It speaks of urgency, she said, but not malice. Daniel frowned, cross-checking. Could be a warning, not sabotage. But who's sending it? The question hung, unanswered. They agreed to dig deeper, time ticking down. Rowan in the annex briefed human delegates. If the system fails, we fall back to manual. No chances. His pragmatism clashed with Daniel's pursuit, but he couldn't ignore the stakes. 20% of trade routes hung in the balance. He deployed extra security, 50 guards sweeping corridors, drones scanning for anomalies. The station buzzed, tension coiling. Salera's entourage grew restless, murmuring about her proximity to human tech. The Regent risked corruption, one hissed. She silenced them with a glance. Progress demands risk. We stand with the humans or fall alone. Her resolve steadied Daniel, who saw her not as royalty but as a partner in crisis. Daniel worked through the hour, sweat beading. The chamber's holograms dance, mapping the signals spread. 5 channels corrupted, creeping toward 10. He traced the interference to a relay junction, suspecting hardware tampering. We need a physical check, he told Salera. She agreed, dispatching an aide to secure access. Their collaboration tightened, a blend of human precision and Altari instinct. Vel watched feeds, noting Salera's involvement. She's too close, he muttered, ordering his operative to amplify the device's output. The interference climbed, a silent scream in the system. Daniel caught the spike, cursing softly. It's escalating. We're running out of time. Salera's hand brushed the console, steady. Then we move faster. The station hummed, oblivious to the threat. Delegates mingled, unaware of the coded war within the machine. Daniel and Salera stood side by side, tools and intuition aligned, chasing a signal that could save or doom them all. Daniel sealed the isolation chamber's hatch with a hydraulic hiss, cutting off the resonance chamber's ambient hum. The confined space, walls lined with anti-interference plating, measured 10 by 10 meters, tight for 2, especially with Salera's towering frame. He booted his analysis software on the console, algorithms slicing through the 42 Hz signal like a laser scalpel. Salera positioned herself at the secondary node, her fingers tracing the crystalline interface, channeling Altari's psychic attunement to probe emotional frequencies. We layer your logic over my senses, she stated, voice clipped. Daniel nodded, syncing his tablet. Start with baseline separation. Isolate the primary wave. Their tools meshed, human code parsing data, Altari intuition mapping intent. The software flagged an anomaly at the core relay, a 5-centimeter module embedded in the resonant circuits, pulsing with ancient Altari tech signatures. Daniel magnified the scan on the hologram, revealing etched runes from pre-Empire designs. Not a glitch. Sabotage hardware, rigged to amplify distortion. He traced its power draw, 12 watts steady, scalable to disrupt 30% of translations if fully triggered. Salera's amber eyes narrowed. Our conservatives' handiwork. They hoard old relics for such shadows. Daniel ran a simulation. Full activation would garble key phrases during the signing, turning alliance vows into veiled threats. Proof of conspiracy, but extraction risked system crash. Data poured in. The device operated on a 12-watt baseline, masking as routine feedback. Daniel's model projected escalation paths. If ignored, it could spike to 80 Hz within hours, crippling the 1,024 channels. We pull it now, he said, prepping extraction tools from his hip holster. Salera concurred, her cloak's crystals glowing as she dampened psychic bleed. But carefully, it fights back. The chamber's air recyclers whirred, maintaining neutral pressure as they worked in tandem. Vale's comms relay buzzed in his suite, a report from his embedded operative flashing urgent. Interference probed. They're closing in. Vale's elongated face twisted, issuing orders swiftly. Boost output. Sow panic before they extract. His ideology demanded action. Altari purity over tainted packs. The device responded remotely, ramping signals to create false echoes, mimicking broader system failure. Vale leaned back, calculating fallout. Salera's credibility shattered. Treaty stalled. Rowan convened an emergency holo-meet with the human delegation in the annex, projecting station schematics. Delay the signing 24 hours, he proposed, voice gruff. Delegates vetoed. 10 cargo fleets idled in hyperlane queues. Economic fallout too steep. We proceed, one countered. Resonance or not. Rowan scowled, coming to Daniel for status. Kim, update. Daniel, mid-scan, replied tersely. Hardware sabotage confirmed. Handling it. Rowan ended the link, deploying drones to sweep relays, unaware that Vale's network evaded detection. In the isolation chamber, Daniel jotted notes on his tablet, cross-referencing signal logs. Celera pressed her palm to the relay housing, listening to the device's psychic residue. It carries fear, she noted, not just disruption. The space heated faintly from energy bleed, walls absorbing excess waves. Daniel's tools hummed, a precision extractor clamping the module. Hold steady, pulling now. A spark jumped, a defensive mechanism, but Celera's attunement neutralized it, her crystals flaring blue. As the module detached, Daniel spotted a secondary layer in the waveform. Not sabotage core, but an encoded message cycling every 7 seconds. Wait, this isn't pure destruction. It's dual-layered, disruption overlaying a transmission. He reran the isolation algorithm, peeling back the noise. The pattern suggested origins from Altari moderates, a hidden channel buried in the chaos. Celera's eyes widened. A plea woven into poison. Daniel archived the data, securing it against remote wipes. Celera shared context mid-procedure. I ascended region after the 2640 Royal Purge. Reforms open doors, but conservatives stalk every step. Her voice was steady, revealing vulnerability without weakness. Daniel absorbed it, focusing on the task, his logic complementing her insight. That explains the targeting. You're the pivot. They synced deeper, his software aligning with her psychic readouts. A minor clash flared. Daniel prioritized numerical data, plotting graphs on the hologram. Numbers don't lie. We quantify the code first. Celera countered. Intuition reveals what figures hide. Feel the intent. Tension spiked, but resolved in fusion. His algorithms refined by her attunement, yielding clearer signals. Their first true resonance, logic and instinct merging, amplifying efficiency. The chamber's console stabilized, interference dropping 5%. They wrapped the initial probe, collecting 50 wave samples into a secure databank. The extracted module sat inert in a containment field, its sabotage neutralized but message intact. Interference now claimed 15% of channels, a creeping threat. Daniel sealed the samples. Next, full decode, but time's short. Celera agreed, her posture unyielding. We expose this before it consumes us. Vale's operative evaded patrols, slipping into vents to monitor. Report back, device out, but signal lingers. Vale cursed softly, adapting, and ordered a backup pulse to mask remnants. His plan shifted. Discredit Celera through association, paint her as compromised by human tech. Rowan received partial intel, tightening security grids. If it's Altari internal, we stay neutral, but protect our systems. Drones hummed through ducts, missing Vale's shadows by meters. Daniel and Celera exited the chamber, data in hand. The resonance rings pulsed unevenly, a visual cue of ongoing war. Daniel calmed his team. Prep decode stations. Celera's aide flanked her, whispering updates on delegate murmurs. They parted briefly, but their alliance solidified. Human precision against alien intrigue. The station's corridors buzzed, delegates unaware of the tech duel below. Vale plotted escalation, his face a mask of resolve. Daniel reviewed samples en route, spotting deeper layers. This message is targeted, for her. Celera sensed it too, her steps quickening. Rowan's annex meeting dragged. Projections showed treaty timelines. We can't afford delays, he muttered. Outside, security fields hummed, guarding against unseen foes. In a side alcove, Daniel and Celera reconvened swiftly. The code's Altari origin, he confirmed. She nodded. Then we unravel it together. Their tools ready, the probe deepened. Interference, a ticking clock. Vale activated Phase 2. Subtle comms jams to isolate key delegates. His operative complied, planting micro-emitters. Daniel's tablet alerted, a fresh spike. They're fighting back. Celera placed a hand on his arm briefly. We counter. The investigation pressed on, a tactical dance in the machine's heart. Vale's faction mobilized swiftly in the station's undercurrents, whispers spreading like a virus code through Altari channels. Led by the counselor, they accused Celera of losing control, citing interference spikes tied to her presence alone. Rumors hit 20 Altari delegates within hours, painting her as compromised by human tech. Psychic bleed from the resonance system, warping her judgment. Operatives seeded doubts via encrypted comms, framing the regent as a puppet, eroding support in private lobbies. Vale orchestrated from his suite, his lean frame hunched over relays, ensuring the narrative stuck without confrontation. Rowan pushed hard in the human annex, holotable projecting system stats. Disable the translator now, he ordered his team, voice like gravel. Switch to manual interpreters, 85% accuracy, zero risk of sabotage. He prioritized treaty security, calculating fallout. A garbled phrase could tank the pact, costing fleets and routes. Delegates nodded, prepping fallback protocols with 10 human linguists on standby, trained in Altari basics, but lacking resonance's emotional depth. Rowan's realism drove it. 20 years in diplomacy taught him tech glitches equaled graves. Daniel felt the squeeze, trapped in crossfire between pack preservation and signal decode. 36 hours to signing, he chose covert pursuit, stashing extracted module data in a shielded tablet partition. We can't stop, he muttered, rerunning simulations in a side alcove. Logic demanded answers. The layered message hinted at deeper threats, potentially saving the Alliance if unraveled. He evaded Rowan's probes, focusing scans on the 7-second cycles, his calibration tool humming as he traced origins to Altari moderates. Celera faced the storm head-on, summoned to an Altari council chamber, a sealed pod off the main decks. Accusations flew. You're affected, a conservative barked. Human waves twisting your essence. She stood unyielding, crystalline cloak steady, using Regent authority to delay judgment. Proof first, she commanded, her amber eyes scanning the room. I sense no corruption, only urgency in the signal. Her psychic attunement bought time, stalling votes, but cracks showed. Delegates shifted, whispers of treason echoing. Vale seized the moment in a side session, his voice slicing cold. Each door we open to them strips Altari's identity. I won't allow it. He rallied extremists, projecting ancient hollows of isolationist victories, igniting fervor. His words weaponized doubt, pushing operatives to amplify rumors, targeting neutral delegates with fabricated logs of Celera's instability. The tactic worked, support wavered, positioning Vale as guardian of purity. The Grand Assembly Hall ramped tension, its vast expanse seating 500 under a domed starfield projection. First joint session between human and Altari delegations packed the rows, security fields humming at perimeters, air thick with protocols. Delegates eyed each other across aisles, humans in suits, Altari in robes. Murmurs built as interference reports leaked, human reps questioning Altari's reliability. Drones patrolled overhead, scanning for concealed devices. Daniel slipped in discreetly, providing Celera a data packet via a secure link. Tech logs prove it's not you. External implant, timed pulses, his evidence. Waveform graphs showing spikes independent of her biology, cross-referenced with station timestamps. She reviewed swiftly, nodding. Your precision cuts through fog. Trust deepened, a tactical bond, his human objectivity bolstering her defense against internal knives. Rowan cornered Daniel post-session in a corridor alcove, grip firm on his arm. You're betting your career on illusion, Kim? 20 years in this game. Hunches sink ships. Daniel met his gaze, tablet clutched. Data doesn't lie. This signal's key to the plot. Rowan released him unconvinced, but held off escalation, his pragmatism clashing with Daniel's drive. Doubts spread wide, infecting human ranks, some delegates suspecting Altari conspiracy, whispers of deliberate sabotage to scuttle the pact. Security ramped. 50 additional guards deployed, sweeping decks with sensor arrays, locking down access points. Drones formed grids, probing for hidden emitters, while human techs audited systems parallel to Daniel's probe. Celera met Daniel in secret, a dim maintenance bay shielded from scans. My intuition confirms. The message matters, a warning from within. She shared psychic impressions, fragments of urgency, calls for exposure. Daniel synced his tablet, overlaying her reads with code breakdowns. We'll decode it, together. Their resolve hardened, a fusion of human tech and Altari sense pushing against the clock. Vale's network adapted, planting false trails in station logs to implicate Celera further. Operatives moved like ghosts, evading guards, seeding division. She betrays us, Vale broadcast to allies, his face a mask of zeal. Rowan monitored from the annex, hollows flashing alerts. If Altari fractures, we pull back. He drilled teams on manual protocols, ensuring redundancy, linguists rehearsing phrases and backups ready. Daniel worked the shadows, analyzing samples. Interference held at 15%, but patterns evolved, hinting at adaptive code. He traced a new spike, linking it to Vale's faction signatures. They're escalating, he calmed Celera covertly. In the hall's aftermath, delegations dispersed, tense, security fields pulsing. Humans fortified positions, Altari huddled in cliques. Vale smirked at reports. 20 delegates swayed, pressure mounting on Celera. Celera's council reconvened, her defense hanging by a thread. I proved myself through action, she declared, buying hours. Daniel's data armed her, a human shield against alien intrigue. Rowan's warning echoed in Daniel's mind, but he pressed on, tablet glowing with partial decodes. 36 hours. We break it. Celera echoed via link. Or it breaks us. Guards swept bays, missing their meat by minutes. Vale's operatives planted a decoy emitter, diverting scans. The station thrummed, a powder keg of diplomacy and deceit. Daniel sealed the bay hatch, reviewing joint data. Celera's insights refined his algorithms, yielding clearer fragments. It's a call to expose, she said. He nodded, logic aligning. Their partnership sharpened, a tactical edge in the brewing storm. Daniel locked the isolation chamber's hatch again, the seal clamping with a metallic thud. He initiated his decoding algorithms on the console, processing 1,000 wave samples in rapid batches. Code lines scrolled, filters peeling layers, cross-referencing against Altari linguistic databases. Celera aligned her psychic interface, translating emotional spikes with 95% sensitivity, her crystalline cloak pulsing as she mapped intent to data points. Sync your outputs to my reads, she directed, fingers tracing holographic waves. Daniel adjusted parameters, merging human computation with Altari attunement, accelerating the parse by 20%. The algorithms cracked the core layer first, a 128-bit encrypted payload embedded in the signal's undercurrent. Daniel magnified the hologram, revealing sender signatures, Altari moderates, a splinter group from reformist cells. It's a warning, he confirmed, voice steady. The message exposed Vale's conservatives as the saboteurs, detailing the device's implantation timeline and remote triggers. Proof cascaded, comm logs, operative IDs, all verifiable against station access records. Celera's eyes sharpened. My own people, divided. This confirms the rot. The decoded text materialized in dual overlays, raw code and emotional translation. It urged Celera, don't stay silent. Use the signing to unmask the extremists. Projections warned of consequences. Treaty failure could cede 40% of Altari border territories to isolationist hardliners, sparking proxy conflicts along hyperlanes. Daniel traced the encryption trail, linking it to hidden moderate networks operating from Altari core worlds. They risked exposure to reach you, he noted, archiving the data in triplicate. Daniel assessed risks swiftly. Public reveal would secure the pact, neutralizing the sabotage, but thrust Celera into direct clash with Vale. This outs his faction, he said, plotting fallout models on his tablet. Civil unrest probable, Altari fleet splintering, enforcers clashing in council halls. Celera absorbed it, her posture rigid. Daniel ran sims, exposure success rate at 70%, but with variables for Vale's countermeasures. The chamber's console beeped, confirming the message's authenticity via checksums. Vale's operative relayed traces from event overlook. Combing encrypted. Decode activity spiked. They're peeling the layers. Vale's face hardened in his suite, issuing commands coldly. Activate early. Ramp to 80 Hz. Flood their systems. His network complied, the backup emitters pulsing from hidden ducts, interference surging like a digital storm. Vale calculated, overwhelmed the probe, force errors, discredit Celera as unstable before delegates. The isolation chamber heated from wave bleed, energy fields crackling as 80 Hz distortions hammered the walls. Daniel wiped sweat from his brow, his uniform clinging, tools overheating in the surge. Celera remained composed, her regal gestures directing psychic dampeners, crystals flaring to shield keynotes. Hold the line, she commanded, attunement stabilizing the console against the assault. Daniel rerouted power, bypassing corrupted relays, his fingers blurring on the interface. Celera processed the full decode, her voice resolute. My honor guards our future, not appeases change fearers. She prepped for confrontation, outlining exposure tactics, holographic projections during the signing, backed by Daniel's tech logs. Daniel synced her plan with his models, adding redundancies, encrypted backups beamed to secure human servers. We strike precisely, he agreed, countering the heat with coolant overrides. Rowan pinged Daniel's comm mid-surge, demanding details. Kim, report progress. Full disclosure. Daniel deflected. Ongoing. Data-sensitive, risk of leaks. He severed the link, prioritizing security. Rowan's probes could tip Vale's spies. The ambassador paced in the annex, holotable flashing interference alerts, his team scrambling for manual backups. If Kim's wrong, we abort, Rowan muttered, deploying drones to trace spikes. A secondary layer emerged in the decode, a subwave at 13 Hz, hinting at additional hidden voices within Altari ranks. Daniel isolated it, partial fragments suggesting broader networks, alliances with fringe elements, but encryption denser, unresolved. More layer, he noted, flagging for later. Celera sensed echoes, whispers of allies unspoken. We can't crack it yet. The discovery amplified the stakes. Full exposure might unravel deeper conspiracies. They wrapped the phase with evidence compiled. Decoded packets, emitter schematics, Vale's links, all ironclad, stored in shielded drives. 12 hours to signing, they drafted reveal protocols. Celera leading the charge. Daniel providing tech verification. We plan the strike, Daniel said, cooling systems kicking in as interference peaked, then stabilized under their countermeasures. Vale monitored the ramp-up, satisfaction fleeting as reports showed partial containment. Push harder, he ordered, activating tertiary emitters. His operative complied, slipping through decks, evading guards by seconds. Rowan escalated scans station-wide, drones forming nets. Find the source, he barked. Human teams audited relays, closing on Vale's shadows without knowing. Daniel and Celera exited the chamber, data secured. The resonance rings shuddered under 80 Hz assault, but Heldan commented on Ted, a trusted tech. Bolster firewalls. Celera dispatched aides to rally moderates covertly. Vale's suite buzzed with alerts, decode traces lingering. He adapted. Spread false narratives tying the signal to human manipulation, seeding doubt among Altari neutrals. Rowan's annex thrummed, projections modeling worst case, treaty collapse, trade routes sealed. He pressed Daniel again, rebuffed. In a brief alcove, Daniel handed Celera a drive copy. Evidence locked. Your call on timing. She nodded. We expose at the peak moment. Guards swept nearby, missing their exchange. Vale's emitters hummed, interference a weapon in play. Daniel reviewed subwave data en route, 13 Hz pulsing, enigmatic. More to come, he murmured. Celera echoed via link. Then we prepare. The station braced, 12 hours ticking. Their alliance forged in code and sense, ready to turn whispers into thunder. Rowan cornered Daniel in the corridor outside the isolation chamber, his stocky frame blocking escape. Choose, Kim. Safe treaty or your signal chase. Data shows 50% message corruption if interference hits peak. Rowan's voice cut sharply, eyes drilling. Daniel clutched his tablet, waveforms flickering on screen. 80 Hz distortions already warping test phrases from cooperation to subjugation. He countered, disabling loses resonance edge. The message exposes saboteurs, save the pack long term. Rowan leaned in, breath hot. 12 hours left. Prioritize. Daniel held ground, logic his shield, but the pressure squeezed. Career online, alliance at stake. Celera entered the Altari council pod, air thick with accusation. Vale stood at the holotable, his elongated face twisted. Your Earth tainted, he accused, projecting falsified logs of her compromised psychic reads. 30 neutral delegates shifted, murmurs rising. Celera activated her cloak's amplifiers, channeling intuition to project calm waves, subtle psychic pulses swaying doubters. Feel the truth, she commanded, overlaying evidence, decoded fragments naming Vale's operatives. Vale snarled, human lies erode our core. She held firm, attunement convincing 15 neutrals mid-session, buying alliance but fracturing unity. Vale's operative received the encrypted order in a maintenance duct. Activate at 1800 station time. Chaos pre-signing. The device, now slave to backups, hummed ready, emitters primed to flood channels, scrambling translations into hostility. Vale paced his suite, calculating. Surge would paint Celera unstable, force manual fallbacks, delay or kill the pact. His network positioned, guards evaded, timers set. They won't trace it back, he muttered, ideology fueling the strike, to preserve Altari's isolation at any cost. Daniel and Celera converged in a shielded alcove, scans jammed by his portable emitter. Trust built fast. Daniel shared origins. Engineer path after family loss in 2630 wars. Relay failure isolated our outpost, cost lives. His voice steady, eyes distant. Celera nodded, amber gaze softening. I lost kin to purges. We both fight shadows. They synced plans, her exposure speech, his tech backups. Personal bonds sealed, mutual scars forging tactical unity against the clock. Rowan rallied the human delegation in the annex, holotable displaying contingency grids. Prep 10 linguists for manual override, he ordered, voice gruff. Resonance superior for nuance, but risks too high. Delegates configured backups, phrase banks loaded, earpieces tested for real-time feeds. Rowan admitted internally, the system's emotional mapping outpaced humans by 30% accuracy in complex negotiations. He calmed security. Sweep for emitters, no breaches. Teams moved, drones forming perimeters, unaware that Vale's shadows lurked deeper. The resonance chamber shuddered under peak interference. 100 Hz waves rattling the glowing rings. Daniel burst in, calibration tool deployed, injecting counterpulses to stabilize nodes. Rings vibrated, holographic displays fracturing like glass, but his overrides held, dropping spikes 10%. Sweat beaded, uniform soaked, he rerouted power from auxiliaries, buying minutes. Hold, he barked to a tech assistant, tools humming in sync. The vault's air is ionized, sparks jumping, chamber a battlefield of frequencies. Celera made the call in their alcove link. We reveal evidence, risk confrontation, but secure future. Daniel supported, uploading objective data sets, 200 logs proving sabotage external. Not her fault. Your intuition, my proofs, unbreakable. She accepted, cloak crystals flaring resolve. Decision locked. Public unmasking at signing. Vale cornered. Vale broadcasts hidden messages to conservatives. Encrypted bursts accusing Celera of betraying ancient Altari essence. She sells our soul to Earth machines, he embedded in comms, rallying 20 hardliners. Operatives amplified, seeding division through delegate channels. False hollows of her human alliances circulating. Vale's suite thrummed with activity, timers ticking to 1800 activation. Daniel pieced the twist mid-stabilization. Interference, dual purpose. Not mere destruction, but veiled alert, transforming tech crisis into political leverage. It's a warning embedded in sabotage, he realized. Tablet confirming layers, 13 harsh subsignals as moderate beacons. Crisis evolved, exposed to flip the board, turned disruption into a reform catalyst. They wrapped the turmoil, prepped for climax, Celera trusting Daniel over any ally, her link confessing, "Your clarity cuts through our veils." Daniel nodded, tools holstered. "We end this." Interference crested, but the held station none, oblivious to the pivot. Rowan's teams drilled manuals, linguists syncing phrases. "If resonance fails, we adapt," he drilled, but eyed comms for Daniel's update, silence fueling doubt. Vale's operative primed the surge, vents hiding his form. "Activation imminent," calmed back. Guards swept close, missing by meters. Daniel exited the chamber, systems tempered. Celera's council lingered tense, her sway held by threads. "We strike soon," she linked. The station clock hit countdown. Hours to signing, crises converging. Their duo armed, tech, and sense against zealotry's storm. The Grand Assembly Hall ignited at 2000 station time. 300 delegates packed into tiered seats under the domed starfield projection. Security fields hummed at full charge, drones orbiting like sentinels, scanning for threats. Human reps in crisp suits flanked one side, Altari in flowing robes the other, tension thick as void fog. The resonance system pulsed online, rings in the adjacent chamber, feeding translations through earpieces. But Vale's emitters lurked ready, primed by his operative in the ducts. Daniel was positioned at a side console, tablet linked to overrides, his slim frame taut. Celera ascended the central dais, her 2.1-meter stature commanding, cloak crystals gleaming. Rowan watched from the human block, fist clenched, packed on knife's edge. Celera stepped to the podium, holographic emitters activating at her signal. "We gather for unity," she began, voice amplified through the system, resonance translating intent flawlessly, but she pivoted sharply. Yet shadows sabotage it. Projections flared, waveform graphs, decoded messages, emitter schematics, all exposing Vale's hand. "Counselor Vale planted the device," she declared, data cascading, implantation logs, operative trails, conservative directives. The hall froze, then murmurs erupted. Vale's face drained in his seat, but he rose swiftly, operative triggering the surge remotely, interference spiking to 150 hertz, aiming to scramble her words into treason. Conservatives reacted fiercely, 50 hardliners surging to their feet, robes billowing. Vale pointed accusatory, voice booming over comms. "She's earthbound, weakening Altari core." Shouts echoed, "Traitor!" Delegates shifting, neutral Altari wavering as falsified logs circulated via hidden bursts. Humans tensed, guards gripping energy batons, Rowan signaling lockdown. The domed starfield glitched under the spike. Translations fracturing. Celera's expose twisting to "betray" in scattered earpieces. Chaos brewed, fists clenched, psychic pulses clashing like invisible blades, the pack teetering on riot. Daniel burst onto the dais unannounced, tablet thrusting into the holofeed. "Tech confirms," he stated flatly, overriding the surge with prepped countermeasures, algorithms slicing through distortions, restoring clarity. He projected 200 pages of logs, timestamps, power draws, signal origins, all objective, human verified. "External sabotage, not region influence. Data doesn't lie." His voice cut steady, eyes sharp, calibration tool deploying a final pulse to neutralize emitters. The hall hushed, projections stabilizing, Vale's accusations exposed as fabrications. Humans nodded, Rowan's block steadying, respect flickering for Daniel's precision. Vale pressed the attack, cornering Celera verbally. "Choose pact or royal honor." His hardliners flanked, psychic barriers rising subtly, pressuring her attunement. Delegates leaned in, air electric, Altari moderates frozen, humans braced for fallout. Celera stood unbowed, cloak flaring. "My honor safeguards our future, not cowers from change." The declaration hit like a shockwave, affirming reform, dismantling Vale's narrative. Hall rumbled, gasped, then applause from moderates, conservatives recoiling as her words resonated pure through Daniel's fixes. The chamber shook. Vale's operative detonated a final burst. 150 hearts slamming the system, rings in the chamber, vibrating to fracture point. Translations garbled mid-roar. Unity became uprising in pockets, sparking scuffles, guards intervening, batons humming. Daniel countered instantly, issuing an emergency shutdown from his console. Override Alpha, cut feeds. Power rerouted, emitters fried in sequence, interference dropping to 0 in seconds. His logic triumphed, human tech outpacing Altari sabotage, a quiet victory in the storm. Twist struck hard. Delegates turned on Celera, whispers peaking. System affected her, twisted her will. Vale seized it. She's compromised, human waves in her mind. Proof demanded, both factions eyeing her, humans doubting alliance viability, Altari questioning regency. She faced the gale, attunement projecting raw intent. No corruption, only clarity. Test me, she challenged, stepping into a psychic scanner mid-dais. Daniel syncing tech reads. Results projected, clean, untainted, her actions pure will, not manipulation. The reversal hit, delegates stunned, Vale's ploy backfiring, exposing his desperation. Rowan rose unexpectedly, voice gruff over the din. Evidence holds. Decoding saved us. He stabilized his block, nodding to Daniel, admitting value in the pursuit, his pragmatism bending. Humans rallied, guards cuffing Vale and operatives on the spot, energy restraints snapping shut. 50 hardliners were subdued swiftly, dragged to holding bays under joint security. The hall settled, starfield steadying, packed techs materializing on holotables. High action peaked. As cuffs closed on Vale, a hidden emitter flared last gasp. 13 hearts, subwave bursting, hinting deeper networks. Daniel traced it mid-arrest, tablet alerting. More voices, alliances beyond. But he quashed it, overriding the ceiling of the system. Celera's declaration echoed, moderates surging support, and the pact signing commencing. Climax wrapped, 100 electronic signatures affixed, humans first, Altari sealing last. Victory for reformers, Vale's factions shattered on the dais. Delegates dispersed, guards escorting prisoners, station alerts dropping to green. Daniel met Celera's gaze, trust forged in fire, human edge proven in the breach. Signatures finalized, the Grand Assembly Hall emptied under security sweeps, guards hauling Vale and his remnants to containment bays. The treaty locked in, joint military fleets of 50 shared vessels patrolling hyperlanes, trade surging 30% across interspace routes. Vale's power stripped clean, arrested on sabotage charges, his conservatives reeling, influence gutted by 40% in council votes. Yet shadows lingered. Operatives slipped nets, whispers of underground cells plotting reprisals. Station alerts dropped to standby, drones retracting, but monitoring grids amplified. Core Nexus now a fortified hub, sensors doubled against covert threats. Daniel received the promotion in a brief annex ceremony, Rowan's hand clasping his shoulder firm. Advisor of Resonance, the ambassador stated, voice gruff. First non-Altari in the role. Pay up 50%, cross-species ops. Daniel nodded, uniform crisp, his tablet archiving final logs. From frontier engineer to pivotal operative, he stood transformed, logic once rigid now flexed with intuition's edge, scars from 2630 wars forging a guardian of fragile packs. He holstered tools, eyes steady, ready for the void's next curve. Celera retained regency, her reforms codified in the treaty's clauses, open borders, and shared tech protocols. Public stance firm, speeches on unity broadcast to Altari worlds, quelling unrest. Privately, trust anchored in Daniel. She confided via secure link, your clarity outshines my kin's veils. Her evolution is clear, from isolated ruler to bridge builder, purges weight lightened by alliance's promise. She established a reform committee of 20 members, inviting Daniel as advisor, their sessions blending code and psychic reads. Interference vanished post-signing, emitters purged, resonance rings pulsing clean. But the 13 hushed subwave lingered in archives, partial decodes hinting at deeper Altari voices, frequency 7 hushed fragments suggesting future packs' hidden influencers. Daniel flagged it for ongoing scans, a quiet threat in the machine's heart. Not over, he muttered, tablet simulations projecting escalation paths if ignored. Rowan reflected in the annex. The holotable dimmed. Listening to noise paid off, he admitted to aides. His realism cracked, once dismissive of hunches, now valuing the chase that averted collapse. Kim turned chaos to order. He authorized upgrades, redundancy arrays, human Altari joint tech teams, ensuring no repeat breaches. In the resonance chamber's glow, Daniel and Celera stood before the central console, rings simulating unified pulses, human steady at 72, Altari at 40, harmonized. Hands placed parallel on the panel, not touching, but synced in purpose. The vault's holograms danced stably, a symbol of cross-species resonance. Air recyclers hummed softly, walls absorbing residual waves, the station orbiting serene. Political ripples spread. Conservatives lost ground, but underground cells mobilized, encrypted bursts from fringe worlds, plotting subtle underminings. Core Nexus bolstered defenses, energy shields reinforced, patrols extended to docking bays. Daniel's role expanded, overseeing upgrades, training hybrid teams on signal forensics, his logic a bulwark against the Void's deceptions. Daniel evolved beyond the engineer who fixed relays in isolation. Now he bridged worlds, respecting intuition as equal to data. Losses from 2630, family silence by failed comms, drove him. But victories here tempered the grief, forging pride in humanity's adaptive edge. Celera solidified as a reformer, committee sessions revealing her strategic depth, inviting Daniel not as subordinate, but peer, their debates sharpening policies for enduring peace. The chamber's console beeped a final diagnostic. Systems nominal, subwave archived for future probes. Daniel turned to Celera, voice low. We turned disruption into a symphony, but echoes remain. She met his gaze, amber eyes reflective. Indeed, diplomacy isn't ink on packs, it's hearing chaos as harmony. Trust and fusion transform noise into a shared song. My people feared change. Yours chased truth relentlessly. Together we open stars' gates, guarding against silent storms. Honor lies in this bridge, Daniel. Yours and mine, a quiet force against the Void's pull. Her words hung, a hundredfold echo in his mind, stirring depths. Logic's cold certainty warmed by Alliance's fire. A human's quiet awe at galactic kinship. The rings pulsed brighter, sealing the era's dawn.